Merci beaucoup. Et mesdames et messieurs, vous avez bien mangé? Oui?
Et bienvenue à nouveau. Welcome back. And that's us collaborating in French.
Okay, and we have actually scheduled some tweets. So if you are using that hashtag, then follow that and you will get some information from us. So everything that we've put down here on words, you will find going through the Twitterverse as we speak. So they're all synchronized. Oh, so 2005. Thank you very much. Then I will... Then you will have to search on that for the document. Okay, search on that for the document. Okay, so thank you for that. Okay, so there we are. We were called the traffic light girls when we were speaking in Rotterdam because we were red and green. And we'll tell you more about that in a minute or two.
More about that later.
But first of all, ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce my very good friend, my speaker buddy, and president of PSA UKI 2014, Jane Gunn.
Thank you. And may I introduce my very good friend, speaker buddy, and president of UKI 2014, Eilidh Milnes.
Okay. So,
and over to you, Eilidh.
Super. So we actually have 30 minutes. The clock is ticking. We have 28 minutes and 22 seconds left. And so we are monitoring our time. So we will finish on time. So we're having to split it between us. So let's crack on, shall we? So 1 + 1 is 3. Because when you actually work with someone, you instantly rack up the ability and increase the productivity of your business when you decide to work with someone. And it's amazing what could happen in this room. Last year, do any of you remember speaking to Mike Hancock? Yes, Mike Hancock. And we shared a cup of tea, cup of coffee out there in the foyer. And Jane and I like to think we are collaboration queens. We think, you know, we're really good at this business. We can collaborate. I'd love to collaborate with you, Nabil. And so I didn't realize that Mike, at that moment in time, actually had 40, that's 40, collaborations going on in his business. And I thought, I'm just a baby in this collaboration. I need to learn more. But as a result of me having an open mind, shaking hands, je m'appelle Eilidh, enchantée, said this to Mike, and when he came into UK this year, he and I worked together. So you just don't know until you reach your hand out to someone and say, can we work together? What could happen? So I challenge you, ladies and gentlemen, when you are going out to the break in about an hour's time, find somebody in this room to start a conversation with. I've already had a magical conversation with a lady who owns this business card. Where are you, Elska? So we are going to collaborate, and wonderful things will happen. It's guaranteed. So just watch this space. So 1 + 1 is 3. So first of all, think about the hashtag's wrong, but that's the one you'll need to use to pick up the document at the end. Who can you start to collaborate with? And I'm conscious that sometimes things don't translate well, and people have to do the translations of us today. In some countries, the word collaboration has got historical, unpleasant connections. So please, if that's the case for you here in France, then think of cooperation. And maybe in business terms, think of strategic alliances. And who could you form those with? Not just necessarily the word collaboration. So it's all about perspective, really. You know, do you feel when I talk about collaboration that you're falling off the end of a building and what's she talking about? This is rather frightening. So have a think about who you could collaborate with. And not just necessarily the people who are in the room. Now, I'm going to show you one of my little... I'll leave that up, actually. I was working with a client in Canary Wharf in London about a month ago. And I was using some of my... I call it mental floss. You know, dental floss that cleans out your teeth? This is mental floss, and it cleans out what goes between your ears. And this particular one was gifted to me by a gorgeous guy called Tim Gard. And so Tim gave me this. I've actually taken off the plastic holder so that it doesn't interfere with the microphone. But what I'm wanting to do is get inside your head and clear out any negativity that you think of. Could it be frightening? Now, we promised you a few statistics. I can't say that these are mathematically proven, that I've done quantitative research, but what I can say, in my experience in working together and collaborating with people, that 40% of people in this room will already have done some kind of collaboration. How many people have worked together, maybe co-authored a book, done some work together? How many people have already collaborated? And that's about 40%. 10% of you will have done it and had a bad experience, because it doesn't always work out, and Jane's going to tell you more about that at the end. And then there's 50% of you who haven't tried it yet. Well, step onto the wild side and try it. And I was speaking in Canary Wharf using my mental floss, and I've always got spare ones for my delegates. And this chap was just so engaged. He was laughing with me and smiling with me, and I thought, he is so cool. So I said, I love to have photographs. Will you come and have some mental floss taken with me? And I would do that with you, but I've only got 15 minutes, and I've already got, oh, my goodness, 7 I've gotten already. So it's a case of, he came up. Now, at the end, we had the photograph taken, and he asks to connect with me on LinkedIn. It turns out he is the Global Director of Diversity for Barclays Bank. So I said to this guy, who's now a very good friend of mine, Chuck Stevens, I said, Chuck, I'm going to be working in Chicago for LaSalle next month. They want me to talk about diversity. And apart from delivering the keynote that they're paying me for, I've also volunteered to give them extra value, which is to deliver a networking session, because I love to talk about that too. But then I'm addressing the board the following day. I'm addressing the entire board of LaSalle. And they want me to give them really, really good ideas straight from an industry in their sector. Could I interview you? Now, what person, when you say, I value your opinion, can I interview you? How would you feel if I interviewed you? Yes. Well, maybe I could interview you then. I've already agreed to interview Janska. She's got such a lovely name, Janska. So I've already got that interview lined up. So who can you cooperate with and collaborate with? It's not just the people who are in the room. I want you to just think for a second or two. Who is in your sphere of influence that you admire, you look up to, who could give you extra value to your business, add gravitas to your business, give it a certain je ne sais quoi, and then you're going to interview them and make them feel good, they feel good, and then you can use that information on LinkedIn, social media that you can imagine would really enjoy it. Does them the power of good, does you the power of good. Of course, I'm still waiting to get authority from Barclays to share it with Chuck's name. But at the end of the day, he said, hey, if we don't get it through in time, just do it anonymously. It's not a problem. So fantastic information. Who can you collaborate with? So when you're thinking about that, what do you have to bear in mind? Well, the first thing is the connection. We're talking about the 3 C's. So when you're connecting with people, it used to be, you know, when you went networking, you'd go out, you would meet people, shake their hands. I've enjoyed shaking your hands already. Change business cards, and that was it. Then you expected them to give you a call, and you expected the business to be done. Well, that's really old school. That doesn't happen these days. Nowadays, connecting is just kind of entering the game. Now you have to convince people. You have to convince them that you are the best person to work with. That if they work with you, the return on investment will be worthwhile. That there's no risk in working with you. And you will bring extra information to the table, extra ideas. They really are looking for people like Bob. When people ask you to come on their boards as a non-exec director or to come in and share your ideas with them, that is what they're looking for, ideas. And you are speakers. You are people who are traveling the world and picking up the latest ideas. So that's what they're looking for. And when you do that, then you can strike up a strategic alliance and collaborate. So how many people have already got a little thought about someone they could speak to? Can I see anyone with their hand up? Who's thinking, oh yes, good. People are thinking, yes, somebody I hadn't thought of, someone who's already in my sphere of influence, and phone them up and ask them, just for a coffee. And Jane and I didn't want you to think that we would just give you this information and then disappear, because one of the things about our kind of business is we want it to have a long tail, we want it to have longevity, and we want to give extra value and content to you. So we have prepared a beautiful jazzy PDF called Connect, Convince and Collaborate, And if you use the wrong hashtag, then you will be able to pick it up on the Twitter feed and download it from the link that we give you. And it's, 3 or 4 page documents with some really, really good things, such as a link to Cisco. We've all heard of the large company Cisco. They have a fantastic program called 2 in a Box. And you should research Cisco's 2 in a Box. It's a fantastic program. And it's all about how they get their teams to collaborate and work together and really are effective. Now, just before I hand over to Jane, I want you to be thinking about how we got into the situation we are. When the opportunity for a new president in UK arose, Jane and I hardly knew one another. This is to give you confidence. There are people in the room that you hardly know. Jane and I smiled at one another across the room. We nodded at one another, and we appeared to vote on the same things at board level. But we didn't actually know one another that well. But when our beloved association, PSA UKI, needed a new president, I knew that they were tapping me on the shoulder, but I also knew they were tapping Jane on the shoulder. And neither one of us wanted the other one to be disappointed. So we put forward the idea. Shall we do it together? We didn't actually know one another that well. Now, Jane will come along and tell you whether or not it worked successfully and how many times she had to dig me out of hot water. But that's the challenge when you have someone who wears a green jacket and tends to think that the traffic lights should all be green. So can I now welcome back up onto the stage Jane, who will take over the presentation.
So, stop there, Eilidh. You have given us so many positives about collaboration, but do you imagine for a moment that Eilidh and I did not have challenges, change and crisis during our year? What do you think?
No, there was none of that.
Well, you can see that we're still friends, but as a former lawyer, specializing, boo, you will say, as a former lawyer, I can tell you that I have a lot of experience in conflict, and we had to deal with that. So I would like you all now to just experience collaboration for yourselves. So you will find in the middle of each row, I'm going to share with you some secrets about collaboration, some card. This is a very quick exercise, so I don't want us to spend long organizing it, but what you need is to be in pairs with a piece of card and a pen. There are some orange pens. If you can't find one, just use your own pen, but you get a better picture if you do. So a piece of card and an orange pen between two. And if you have not got a piece of card, if you're short, please put your hand up, and Nikki here will run around with a piece of card. So very quickly organize yourselves with card, please.
Okay, one between two. One between two. So you two, yes, and you two.
Okay, as soon as you're ready, put your hands up so I can see. As soon as you're ready, you've got a piece of card between you and a pen.
You have spare or you need more?
Okay, you ready to go?
You need more or
ready
you
to
spare?
go. This is a very quick exercise.
One between two.
You are now going to collaborate with your new
Jane?
business partner. And what I'd
Nikki,
like
we
you to
need some.
do is between the two of you to hold the pen together. One hand on top, one hand underneath. That's the first thing you have to agree on. So you hold the pen together, both of you holding the same pen. I would now like you to take 30 seconds to draw a house, please. Please draw a house.
Do you need paper? Do you need a partner? Yes, you do. Oh, she's gone. Oh, she's coming back. So you've got someone. Good. Ooh.
Okay, this is a very quick exercise. Hayley, look here. It's worth a photograph. That's very funny.
Excuse me, there's a fabulous photograph here. Could you come?
Okay, please put your hands up when you've finished your house. I would now like you to draw a tree. Please, would you draw a tree in your garden? Very quickly, draw a tree. Okay, and when you have finished your tree, would you please draw an animal? Some kind of animal in your garden. Very, very quickly. Okay. The final task, please, is to sign your drawing. Please sign your collaborative piece of work. When you finish, please, can you hold your drawings up so we can see them?
Oh, they're wonderful. Yeah, they're great.
Hold up your drawings when you have finished them. Oh,
super.
Fantastic. Absolutely super. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. I have some questions for you now about your collaboration. How many of you, please raise your hands, had a conversation with your collaborative business partner before you started work together? How many of you had a conversation? A few, a few. How many of you discussed roles and responsibilities? Ah, you did, you did. Next question. How did you sign your drawing? Did you sign it with your individual names or did you make up a team name? A team name. How many had a team name? Okay. Now here is what you call the $50 million question. Who owns the drawing? Who owns the drawing? Do you know who owns the drawing? Because if you do not know who owns the drawing, at the end of the day, you may end up destroying everything that you've built. So, as I say, whatever is unspoken is hardest to change. Whatever is unspoken is hardest to change. That's my mantra, because as a former lawyer, I have seen that most conflicts in collaborative partnerships, in relationship partnerships, and in large businesses arise from a conversation that didn't happen or that didn't happen well. A conversation that didn't happen or that didn't happen well. Do you know what we do when we don't want to have a conversation or when something actually goes wrong? Here's the first thing we do. Supposing I'm actually unhappy with Eilidh about something, maybe she took too much time on the stage. Instead of saying something to Eilidh, I think something about her. I think that Eilidh, she's really annoyed me. She spent far too much time on the stage. Or, instead of speaking with Eilidh, I turn my back on Eilidh and I go over and I say, Nabil, that Eilidh, she's really annoying me. She spends so much time on the stage. What do you think? And this is how it goes. Now, I have a story to tell of another business partnership. So like Eilidh, I collaborate with other people. I had a training business with a partner called David, and we had to renew a contract, a big training contract for 5 years. We were absolutely certain to renew this contract. We'd been to the interview process. It was a done deal. So one day the phone rings. Hello, is that Jane? Yes. Jane speaking. Jane, this is Brenda from the CIA. I'm just ringing to tell you that We've made a decision about the contract. We've awarded the contract to Linda. What? What? You see, Linda was a member of our training faculty. She was a member of our team, and she had bid secretly against us. And she had done that because she wasn't happy. And we didn't know that she wasn't happy with us. You see, whatever is unspoken is hardest to change. And the thing is that we speak least about the things that matter most. I think that message has come through with many speakers this week. We were with Peter Ivanov this morning, and similar messages coming through about some of the things that we ought to speak about. We speak least about the things that matter most. So with the very limited time we have, I'd like to leave you with 3 questions, and these are 3 questions that I think are absolutely fundamental to collaboration, to any collaboration, whether it's with your parents, your children, your partners, your business partners, any team that you're in. Here are the 3 questions. I'd like you to think, do I know who matters most to me and why? And the why is very important. Who matters most to you and why? Then I'd like you to ask yourself, what matters most to them, to that person, to that very important person to you, and why? Why are those things, those values, those outcomes, those goals, those visions, why are they so important to that person? Do you know the answer to that question? And the final question is, do you know what matters most to you and why? Do you know what matters most to you and why in the context of that particular relationship? And the final thing you need to do is share it. You need to take the time. In the digital world we live in today, we do not take the time to have these really fundamental, what I call D&Ms. Do you know what a D&M is? A deep and meaningful conversation. It's good to spend some time to have some D&Ms together. So some deep and meaningful conversations about these fundamental questions. Because at the end of the day, you need to know who owns the drawing. In fact, you both need to own the drawing. And if, despite the crisis, the challenges, the differences in personality and style, you both own the drawing, then you have discovered the joy of collaboration and the effectiveness of conflict, the effectiveness of collaboration. In fact, I was going to say, you have discovered the power of 2.
There we go. So, who owns the drawing is absolutely vital. And the power of 2. And, okay, so we've got some books. And we think the easiest way, because we're currently just coming to the end of our time now, is that come to us. We have basically 3 books each. So it's always a case of first person in gets the best clothes, isn't it? First up gets best dressed. So first person to us will be the ones who win the books. If you want them written and we will sign them off and personalised for them, we'll do that too. On the other hand, if you don't want to go on the web, or if you're not on Twitter, or if you're not on Facebook very much, then just give us your business card. Jane and I will be here. You can drop your business card in here. We'll take it back to UK, give it to the office, and before you know it, we'll be in touch and saying hi, and we'll share that PDF with you, the Convince, Connect, Collaborate. But we'd really like to give you away our books. It's our thank you for enjoying time with you. This one, mine, is called The Diversity Dashboard.
And mine is called How to Beat Bedlam in the Boardroom and Boredom in the Bedroom, if anybody's interested in that topic.
And then it won't surprise you at all to realise we've written a book together. And so we have collaborated on this book. But this book is really, really good because it's also got 11 other professional speakers at the fellow or CSP level in UK. So we collaborated with our friends. And so it's not just us talking about the power of professional speaking, but there's some fantastic tips in here, especially if you're new to professional speaking. So we have a number of these, and these. So that's it.
Come
we
and
thank
see
you
us.
very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Fantastic and generous.